Hello, everyone. This is Dennie Heye for the SLA Europe podcast. It's a new month, so it's once again a new guest on the podcast. And today, Jill Strand is back. Hi, Jill. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Denny?
I'm fine. So last month we spoke to Kate Arnold, so this time it's your turn again. And I wanted to kick off right away by asking you, what is the most important SLA business right now?
Well, there's a couple of things, but what I'll start with that's most immediate is, and some folks who are following the leadership list and the governance list will have seen notices about this since last fall, but it's selling our headquarters building. And this was also discussed at Leadership Summit. So kind of some basic facts. The current building was purchased when SLA had about double the staff and also a much healthier balance sheet. And that was over 10 years ago. So selling the building and renting office space that better suits our needs was one of actually several ideas that was generated by the Finance Committee's Alternative Revenue Streams Task Force. Mm-hmm. And after quite a bit of study and discussion and deliberation by both the board and SLA HQ staff, we also have some input from our investment advisors for the association. It was decided that this was an idea worth pursuing sooner rather than later for many reasons. And I don't want to go digging into the details here, but I can say that they're all beautifully outlined in a building sale memo that is on the SLA website.
Okay, I'll link to it.
Members can log in to view it by going to Home, Governance, Board of Directors, Meeting Information, and Memo regarding the sale of the headquarters building. So now, there wasn't a whole lot of comment when this was first announced back in October. An email message went out from President Deb Hunt to both the leadership and the governance list. But there has been some more recent discussion and some questions since Treasurer John DiGilio mentioned this in two of his presentations at Leadership Summit in January. So the building memo was created to help share more details with members, and a second document was posted just a few days ago with answers to some additional questions, and it's in the same place on the website as the building memo. And, you know, what I think is really kind of impressive is both these documents are a really good example of the board's commitment to greater transparency on major decisions affecting the association. It's something that they've been working towards for a while now. I know John DiGilio, as treasurer, is really committed to this, as is the board. And, you know, a few people asked, well, why this information wasn't shared sooner, and I think that's a valid question, and it's also been a good learning experience for the board to consider how such decisions are received. And at the same time, I think it's also important that, for members to understand that the board has a fiduciary duty to the association, and this means that we have to make calculated decisions and act. You know, we can't always govern by discussion list. So I really commend John DiGilio, as well as board members Valerie Perry, James King, and Hal Kirkwood, as well as the HQ staff, in particular Linda Broussard and Doug Newcomb, for putting that memo together so quickly, as well as answering the additional questions. They did this, I think they first started working on it after Leadership Summit. They committed to doing it there, and they got it up, the memo up when earlier, and the additional questions that came after were put up just this week. But they did this at a time that's probably the busiest financially for the association. They were helping units complete their financial reports so they could close the books on 2013 in preparation for our annual audit. So this was an extra layer of responsibility for them, and that meant that they had to kind of take a little longer to make sure that they were answering all the questions, making things as clear as possible, and putting it out there in a way that it would be easily digestible for members.
Hats off to them.
Definitely.
Okay, well, I think that's good that people take note of that memo and see if that answers their questions, and maybe we can step up to the next question. That would be, what are you currently most proud of with regards to SLA?
Well, this sort of ties in with the building sale issue, but also I think it's an example of how the board is being able to generate innovative ideas and make educated decisions and then act upon them. Mm-hmm. Another example of this is we this year began the process evaluating the next phase of our strategic agenda. And this really goes to the foresight and leadership of President Kate Arnold in understanding that we've sort of reached the end of the 5-year life cycle of the strategic agenda, and we need to figure out how it should evolve into our next steps for moving the association forward. So to that end, she led a strategizing session during our board meeting at Leadership Summit, and to kind of help facilitate that discussion, she asked various members of the board to prepare and share summaries of in 3 areas, and one of them was looking at the common themes that we had gleaned from previous research, such as the alignment and loyalty projects, as well as the more recent Financial Times SLA survey and the name change survey. She also had another group kind of present on reflecting on the progress and current relevancy of the strategic agenda. You know, how far have we come? What pieces do we need to carry forward? How would they evolve or change? And another group kind of talked about the external factors impacting the future of SLA. So this led to some really good discussions amongst the board, and President Arnold is ensuring that the discussion continues, and will also include member input by working to form a short-term task force of board members, but also making sure that there's some member representatives from the different U.S. And international chapters to explore how we can invest in membership, both current and future, to strengthen SLA going forward. She also had the idea of recruiting a member with some professional strategic planning skills to work with the board throughout this process, to kind of keep this moving forward in a productive way. So, you know, I totally understand that some people might feel that there's a lot of stuff going on and maybe it's happening really fast and it's hard to keep up with, and I completely understand that. But I always remember something I heard past President Stephen Abrams say, which is, if we waited for everything to be perfect, nothing would ever be accomplished.
Indeed.
And I'm reminded of that every day of my work. You know, I'm sitting here about to do a presentation. I need this answered. I need this perfectly scripted out. I need this slide already. You know, sometimes it all comes together, and sometimes little pieces don't, and you kind of have to wing it. So I think today's board, you know, we may take a different approach than past boards have, but that doesn't mean either approach is wrong. I think we all do the best we can, given the current economic climate and the goals we're trying to accomplish. So one of the things I really hope to be able to do as President-Elect, and both when it's my turn to be president, is to continue the work of increasing transparency so that members have a better sense of what's happening with their association. And I think, too, for those who truly want to stay engaged, I recommend signing up for the governance list, as announcements that are shared via the leadership list are often shared there as well. And then, you know, the other thing, if I may, just reminding the unit leaders, both division and chapter and caucuses, you know, they are the ones who are receiving announcements via the leadership list, and we really rely on them. We encourage them to cascade that information to their units. So sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. I realize people are busy. You get a little overwhelmed by all the email. But, you know, your members, as a leader, it's kind of your job to make sure you're forwarding that information to your unit members. So just a little nudge to remind people to continue doing that.
Yeah, and that is good advice, and I know from experience that everyone in SLA is approachable, and they're very willing to brief you or have a discussion with you, and you know, people are willing to take the time and listen to your feedback. So there's plenty of opportunity through, you know, all the channels that we have available to make sure that you stay up to date. So thank you for sharing that, Jill. So like last time, I wanted to end on a lighter note. So last time we touched upon your hobbies. So this time I wanted to ask you about another interesting topic, which is holidays. What would be your dream vacation?
Right now, just about any vacation would be a dream vacation, just to have some change of scenery and some time off. I am actually really looking forward to traveling to visit some different units this year and next year. I know in May I'll get the chance to go to California and visit with several chapters out there. But I am actually really looking forward to the annual conference in Vancouver. This may sound very politique, but I'm looking forward to the conference, definitely, but I'm also looking forward to just taking some time off to hang out in Vancouver and British Columbia after the conference, and hoping, planning my husband will come along We actually took our honeymoon to Portland, Oregon, and the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State many years ago. And now that I think about it, this year will be our 15th anniversary,
Oh, wow.
so wedding anniversary. So we didn't quite have enough time to get up to Vancouver. I'd always heard great things about it, how beautiful it was, what a neat city it is, all the outdoor things you can do. So I'm really looking forward to kind of focusing, if I have some energy left after the conference, I hope to reserve some to really just kind of relaxing and taking in everything there is to do in Vancouver.
Very good idea. I've been there many, many years ago. I love that you've got the mountains and the sea, great food, and nicest people in the world over there. It's a wonderful area to explore. So I do hope you will have some energy left at the end to spend some quality time with your husband over there and see some of the sights over there. Okay, Jill, that I think is the time we have for now. So I want to thank you for spending the time with us. And we'll speak.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so next month it'll be Kate again, and then we'll speak to you another time. So thank you very much, Jill, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks so much, Denny, for doing this.
Okay.